Good morning. Welcome back to Morning at NTV. My name is Malaki Vilodera. Now today being the 10th of October, it's World Mental Health Day. And so worldwide we celebrate mental health and mental illness. We raise awareness, we raise education, and just to ensure that we know that this thing is here with us and we need to address it. And so on Solutions segment today, I have with you special guests. I have Sarah Tushemereirwe, who is a mental health advocate and mental health survivor. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Next to her, I'm joined by her mother, Madam Eddie Gold Monday. Thank you so much for coming in studios. Sarah, we can start with you. Where did all this start from? Just give us your journey in a nutshell.
It started when I was quite young. I remember by the age of 8, I was already quite fearful. Always thinking that maybe there's someone following me. I would not want to be outside with other children playing, though I did not know at that time there was something not okay with me. Yes, and I was struggling with lack of sleep, self-esteem at quite an early age of, I remember in P5 already comparing myself to others, thinking I'm not beautiful, so it started very young for me. Yes.
At P5 you're already comparing yourself, thinking you're not beautiful enough.
Yes.
Mommy, at that point, especially when she says that the symptoms started at 8 years old, did you notice something?
It was quite disturbing. Yes, I could see that there was something not so right, but I wouldn't tell that she was actually ill. She used to walk with her arms straight. Even when she would be running, she'd always have her arms on her body. And as any other mother would throw a slap or two, why don't you walk? Why don't you free up, free up? But it didn't occur to me that actually there was something going on that was not right. And it was even more disturbing when she started losing sleep. She first kept it to herself, and I don't think she intentionally kept it away from us, but somehow you'd go to the room and you'd find her awake until she started, we started talking and she started confiding in me that she wasn't sleeping at all.
And what step did you take at that point?
At that point, we had to go to the. We met one of her pediatrician, and he directed us to another doctor, whom I later on learned was actually a doctor that started seeing her in in years later. But we just went and were given treatment. At the time, we didn't get to know exactly what was being treated. To me, I took it that she was being given medicine to go and sleep.
Right.
And we went home with it for a month, and it did not give us much relief, but we could see that there was some change in her sleep, in her sleeping pattern.
So when she got to P5 and she started having self-esteem issues, feeling that maybe she's not beautiful enough, did you notice it as a mother?
No, I did not notice that, because that was really her internal thoughts that never came out. But at least I knew that she was not comfortable playing with others, and quite often I would ask her, why don't you be with so-and-so? Why don't you do this? My questions was, why don't you do this? Why? I didn't really realize, and those other questions were just residing in her internal self. Yeah.
Sarah, when you started comparing yourself with other girls, maybe your friends in school, your classmates, where did that come from? Where did this voice come from? What was it that was telling you that maybe you're not beautiful? Is it the videos you saw on TV? Of course, TV and social media plays a major role, but at P5, I'm sure it was purely TV and maybe cartoons and programs here and there. But what was it for you? Where was that feeling stemming from?
To be honest, I don't know. I just, for a long time, I just did not feel worth it. Yeah, even as a sibling, as a child, I just did not have that esteem. But of course, growing up, and when you see your friends looking in my eyes more beautiful, my sisters, it wasn't. Yeah.
And so did you speak to anyone about it?
Not really, because I couldn't internalize it myself. I wanted answers, but it was easier to try to fit in, try not to deal with the issue. Yeah.
You actually, when you were sharing with me, you told me that at some point it got worse and you started slitting your arms. Did you feel better? Well, at what point did it get that worse, that you felt maybe once I slit my arms or wrists, then I'll feel better? Just let us in on that point. What was happening?
Actually, that was far ahead when I was now like 18. It was after a major hospitalization, and my whole world now had just turned upside down, and I was seated outside of the veranda one evening looking into the sky, and I came to my senses and I had a stone. It had blood and my inner thigh was also bleeding. At first I was so confused and couldn't put one and two together. But I knew I'd harmed myself, and it went on for a while, but there were two different things that would cause me to harm myself. Mainly it was the split personality disorder, where this other Sarah would come in and she would want to harm me. So most of the times, I don't remember, but when I'd come out, I would find when I've hurt myself. And this was very traumatizing for me because I'd keep promising myself, I will not do it.
Okay.
I will not do it. But I'd find myself in hospital bleeding or covered. But though there were times whereby, and these were very few times, whereby still I wouldn't be, of course, in my senses, but it wouldn't be under the influence of the other side, where I would cut myself and somehow the emotion I was unable to express would flow out and I would feel better. But the big, oh sorry,
It's okay.
the big stars, these big ones, the main ones, were under the influence of that other star. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
And I've never felt pain. Most of them had to be stitched. To me, being depressed and the bipolar and the self-esteem had left me scarred on the inside. But when the scars started showing on the outside, that was the hardest. I really did not feel beautiful. And you see one scar leading to another, because this was a period of over 7 years.
Wow.
It was heartbreaking.
Wow. Mommy, when this was happening, she said that it was over a period of 7 years. Did you notice anything, especially when it was on its onset, when she started slitting herself?
Yes, I did. It was now evidently clear that there was something wrong. Actually, around the P5, that's when she would come home and tell me, Mommy, today in class, I blacked out. Then I would go through the story. When you blacked out, what happened? And she would just go into the narrations, how she would just find herself outside class. She's in the class, but she found herself like in mountains with people beating her up, and then she would say, coming back, she would see like rainbow colors, and then she would return to her senses, and the class is almost over. So I had to continue talking to the doctors, especially her pediatrician, but they couldn't make any sense of what was happening. And despite all that, she would go back to class and win.
Wow.
Yes, she would go back to class and win. So it went on, and then in the A level, she went to senior 1, then she started fainting out of nowhere. Then the school she was in had to be changed, and actually the headmistress in the school at the time, that was Our Lady of Good Counsel, helped us to get a school that was near my home, which is Kawempe Muslim School, and there she couldn't continue. I think they realized that she was not well, and unfortunately she was sent away. And that one also, I was fearing to deliver the message for her to know that now she has no school. So I had to move up and down until I got another school, Aga Khan School at that time. I explained to the headmaster, said she may not make it, but I need a place, so that when I'm telling her she's no longer going to Kawempe Muslim, she'll be having another school to go to. Just trying to manage the situation. But there I had already realized that any slight thing would set her off, and it would, you know, she would start slowly, and somehow you'd see her eyes change. And that would be a no return until she hurts herself. So would stay close to her, but sometimes somehow I should get something. The only major things I used to hide and make sure they are well kept are kitchen knives and all those sharp things. But I had already seen, and it wasn't when she started on medication.
It wasn't on medication?
It wasn't. Actually cutting herself started after she had already put on mental medication. This that's when it started, and she was around, she had now finished senior 4, going to senior 5.
And what are the doctors saying? Because you'd expect that once you start on medication, maybe you'd get better, but in your case, you're actually getting worse and harming yourself further. What are the doctors saying?
Mental health, I think, is quite difficult. Even I don't want to talk on behalf of the doctors, but I know it is even difficult for them, because every time we would go there, we would get a different diagnosis. One time it is depression, one time it is split personality, one time it is bipolar, one time it is something else, and every time these drugs were being changed. And that they were making her, at one time she was weighing over 170 kgs. You are looking at her like this. So all that, as she was blowing up, it would also affect, she already had no self-esteem, so it would affect her completely. So I don't know whether the doctors have the right words, but they have to continue using the medication. But for us, medication did the worst. Every time we would have to change medication, and it was like our hope, but it was not giving us the hope.
So fast forward, now she's a victor, she's conquered it all. What is the trick for you now that medication didn't work? What worked for you? What did you start doing that now you are strong, you can even speak for it, you're now a mental health advocate, you've overcome it? What did work for you?
First of all, I'd like to say, yes, I have overcome, but I'm still overcoming. Mental disorders can happen to anyone, anytime, and any age. It doesn't matter what. So if I don't watch my mental health, if I'm not intentional about pursuing it, I can end up where I was before. But one of the things that helped me overcome is, or keeps helping me, is the way I think. Trying to watch how I think and dealing with the issues I had before. Low self-esteem doesn't just arise out of nowhere, but trying to find out, okay, what happened and how can I build the esteem right now? Things like knowing some things I wasn't able to control. The cutting, these cuts bothered me for a long time. I used to want to hide and wear jackets, but coming to realize now that, okay, I wasn't okay.
Yeah.
But what can I do now? That mentality, and every day knowing that circumstances will rise up that I cannot control, but I can definitely try to control my reaction. So that mentally, the way of thinking for me changed. And it doesn't mean that I don't have bad days or hard days like anyone else, but it is being intentional daily, watching what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, and being aware of myself and knowing I shouldn't let anything pass by.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Mommy, as we come to a close, what would you tell parents who have children, even young ones, for how it started at a very young age? What would you tell parents in terms of them connecting to their children and just having that relationship such that they can troubleshoot whenever trouble comes in?
Yeah, like Sarah said, mental health has no respect. Age, status, beauty or no beauty, it has no respect. So we need as parents to pay close attention to our children. When they throw tantrums, why is the child behaving like that? Sometimes we dismiss it as bad manners. I've told you that when I would see her running like this, I'll just, even walking, I'll just say, no, walk. It took her time to open to me, but I had to keep on asking. So we need to be close to our children, to ask what is bothering them. We need to watch out these little mannerisms that we tend to dismiss as bad manners. We need to find out more and see how we can enter their thoughts. You see a child trying to, like for her, when she started feeling that she's not beautiful, you'd see her saying, oh, that one looks beautiful. She would comment, but I never knew that inside she was looking at herself like the other way to look like. So maybe at that time I would say, yeah, but you're beautiful too. And also the comments when the kids come to us, and we should try to manage our voices. Sometimes we raise our voices and we miss out the point. We are human beings and we do react, but that's where you would capture like the kids' thoughts.
Right.
So we need to maintain that, and also be spiritually strong, because what has helped us again is being spiritually strong. We do quite a lot of praying, and she does pray a lot too. So that knowing her Bible, knowing her God, has also helped her, knowing that you can go through fire but you don't get burnt. You can have a bed of roses which has thorns, but sometimes you look at the beauty. So all that, the spiritual part of it has helped us quite quite a lot, and I encourage our fellow parents to make sure that they bring out their children spiritually, because the world we are in has quite a lot of stones that are being thrown at us and these little children. So how do we make sure that they are not hurt by these stones? They know how to dodge them.
Wow.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming in studios. That has been quite helpful. Never take it for granted. Develop a strong relationship, like she said, with your children. And even if you're an adult, whatever stage you're in, never take for granted the small feelings that you have. Pay attention to them. And like Sarah said, guard your mind, guard what you think about, because that will affect your person, your inner being in result. That has been it for Solutions segment. Morning at 10 TV comes to an end at this point. Be sure to join us tomorrow, same time, same place, from 6:30 all the way to 9 a.m. Have a blessed day.